बेटी ने जिसने आप किसको डालना चाहिए, बेटी को? नहीं, आप जो बोलो, बेटी भी है,
माता जी है ना शरीर छोड़े वाले।
हाँ माता जी बात करना।
बस शुरू कर।
नहीं वो
आइए, आज हम लोग एकत्रित हुए हैं बहन माता जी सरोज बाला की अंतिम क्रिया के लिए। और सनातन धर्म भागवत गीता गरुड़ पुराण के आधार पर माना जाता है शरीर 5 चीज़ों से बनती है, धरती वायु आकाश अग्नि जल। और आज हम लोग सब कुछ 5 ऐसा समर्पित कर रहे हैं। 5 पिंड निकल रही है, 5 दीवा। और इसी प्रकार से शरीर जहाँ से आती वापस वहीं चली जाती है। 5 आज शरीर को अग्नि को सौंपा जाएगा, धरती पर क्रिया होगी, वायु में जाएगी, आकाश में, अंत में फिर जो अस्थियां लेकर के जल प्रवाह होती है तो शरीर 5वां जगह चली जाती है। तो ऐसे मान करके माता जी का निमित्त जोड़ कर उनके पिता उनके पुत्र आदि जोड़ करके हम लोग क्रिया विधि आरंभ करेंगे, फिर आपके बाद में समझाएंगे। विष्णुरेविष्णुः अदो ब्रह्मणे देरिदे परो देशीश्वेद बाराहि कल्पे तमे कलयुगे कलि प्रथम चरणे ऑस्ट्रेलिया द्वीपे प्रशांत महासागरे अमुक स्थाने मक्वारी पाकिस्ताने अमुक ग्रामे न्यू साउथ वेल्स ग्रामे ऑस्ट्रेलिया द्वीपे हे अमुक मासे वैशाख मासे शुक्ल पक्षे अष्टमी तीर्थोयां वास्त्रे है श्री शुक्रवासरे धमुक गोत्र से है प्रताप कटारिया नाम से कटारिया गोत्र समुख प्रेतस्य सरोज बाला नाम से प्रेतत्व निविक्ति उत्तम लोक प्राप्ति में दिग् धर्म कर्म करीशे। हरि ओम। हरि ओम। मुख गोत्र से नाम से प्रताप कुटार्य नाम से गोत्र गोत्र से पुंक प्रेत से सरोज बाल नाम से प्रेत पिंड स्थाने यत्र वर्णिनी छत्रमया गोत्र से नाम से है श्री ही प्रताप कटार्य नाम से गोत्र कटार्य गोत्र से प्रेतात्मा निमितात श्री सरोज बाला नाम से प्रेत चिताय साधक नाम पिंड स्थावने निचत्रमयांदिस्तम तु प्रतिष्ठता। बहु चंदन का टीका आप भी आज चंदन तुलसी तुलसी मुख में का करना चाहे तो और चंदन तो मस्तक पर आप भी आप बहु आपको तो ऐसे ही कर लीजिए इधर हरि ओम। अकमुक गोत्र से नाम से है बहु मह्य मीनाक्षी नाम से कटारी गोत्र से प्रेतात्मा निमितात सरोज बाला नाम से तिल जल्यांदी ही तिलो जल्यांदी शगुन है बच्चों से फूल खाती पे तिल जल्यांदी गंगा जल सहित पुष्पांजलि चंदनम श्रीहिम चंदनम त्योमह श्री तुलसी दल गंगा जल तहितम प्रतिष्ठताहम पयाहं पृथ्यां पयो शिदिशिपयो दिव्यं तनरिचिपयो दहां पयो स्वस्ति प्रदेश संतो मह्यमः। थोड़े से बोल के ये लोग कर ले। नारायण सुरश्रेष्ठ लक्ष्मीकान्तवर्पदेन नेन तर्पेण न्यो प्रेतमोक्षुप्रदो भव हिरण्यगर्भपिरक्ष व्यक्तं स्वरूपिणामस्य प्रेतस्य मोक्षार्थ सुप्रीत भव सर्वदा लक्ष्मीकान्तवर्पदेन नेन तर्पेण न्यो प्रेतमोक्षुप्रदो भव हिरण्यगर्भपिरक्षमयक्ततां सोरितं नाहं प्रतिष्ठताहम्। Ladies and gents, we've partly completed the rituals for today. We built ethos, skies, fire, and earth. The first thing to leave a person's body is the ability to breathe, so the wind part finishes off, and then the heat within the person would cool down, and then the body will lose all the water content, and of course it will decompose and go into the skies eventually. So we believe that's why we make offerings of 5 items today, made out of rice flour and black sesame seed. Upon the cremation ceremony today, the body of Mataji Saroj Bala will go to 4 of those 5 places. It will be cremated on earth. It will be offered to Lord of Fire, of course, and go in the ethos and eventually in the skies. And when we pick up the ashes and take it to the rivers, that's when it goes back to the 5th place it has come from. We believe the connection between the soul and the body stays around the family. And Feja Pundari Kancham Preta Moksha Prado Sarmignana Prasida Purushottama.
Thank you, Panditji. Om Shanti, everyone. Thank you all for being here in person or in your thoughts from far away. We gathered here to celebrate simple yet exemplary life of my mother Saroj Bala, who left her body peacefully at 4:30 a.m., which we call as Amrit Vela, the time of nectar, on the day before. That's Wednesday, the 26th of April. Saroj always lived with us until the last couple of months, when she was under professional and loving care of the staff at St. Mary's Residential Aged Care Home in Concord, due to failing health from dementia. However, she was alert and responsive until about last few days before her passing. Coming from Hindu background, we all have learned from the scriptures that we are essentially souls living in our bodies. We change our bodies from birth to birth like changing clothes, whereas the soul, the Atman, is imperishable and eternal. The scriptures are replete with the mention of soul and imploring us to live in soul consciousness rather than body consciousness. These ancient insights and wisdom become so much more important and poignant on occasions such as this. So let's respect that the real being of Saroj, who has just moved on to the next part of her journey. And let's wish her bon voyage and happy and peaceful journey ahead. Saroj led a full life, giving and receiving love, respect, and seva, that is service, to one and all, be they relatives or just happen to live in the neighborhood in Jaipur. Her health care profession came in handy as she would give free injections to the sick in the neighborhood. As such, seeing a syringe and needle in the boiling water in our home kitchen stove was a very common occurrence, which I later realized was quite helpful for me in removing my phobia of injections. We have a few doctors here. She was one of 8 siblings, 5 sisters and 3 brothers. So you can imagine the large number of my cousins, who never made me feel that I was the only child of Saroj. She was ahead of her times by educating to the college level and then doing nursing course in order to take up that profession and stand on her feet and bring me up as a single parent, as I had lost my father at an early age. Till her parents were alive, we stayed at their house in Jaipur, where she looked after them as they were aging and had ongoing health issues. She provided for my higher education in a premier science and engineering institution in India, which held me in good stead and landing me a good job with Siemens in India, and later getting permanent visa to Australia. She always encouraged me to pursue higher education in my chosen field without worrying about the cost. Whilst we were working at different places in India, we would meet at least once a year for a couple of months during her or our leave. Anita and I, Anita my wife, moved to Melbourne, Australia in 1990. Saroj worked at Jaipur until retirement in 1992, after which she moved and joined us for good in Melbourne. It was arduous to obtain Australian permanent residency visa back then for oneself, let alone one's relatives. However, the Australian Immigration Department was quite kind and considerate in granting her early visa, PR visa. She was very benevolent and compassionate. Growing up in Jaipur, I remember that commuting around in hired cycle rickshaws was a common mode of transportation. Back then, probably it still is. We often hired a rickshaw for social visitation or going to marketplace, restaurants, or cinema halls in the city. She would never bargain with rickshaw drivers, and when they asked for their payment at the end of the journey, she would make them smile in gratitude by offering them 1 or 2 rupees extra. Usually, they would raise their hands in a salam gesture and leave us silently, I'm sure giving her blessings in their hearts. Her love and benevolence knew no bounds or discrimination. She showered them along with her sumptuous cooking to everyone. Most of us are familiar with her cooking. She was famous for her cooking, especially parathas and pakoras. That is curry stuffed bread. No guest would leave her home without being overfed, as she would make sure that they take at least one too many of her chapatis or parathas. Being so loving and selflessly caring, she was loved by her siblings and their children. Her friends were friends for life, which included Nirmal, Manorma, Suvarna, Sita, Linda, Kunj, her cousin, Gondi auntie, Rehana, Darsho, who was Anita's mother, to name a few. She had a very special bonding with all my cousins during summer vacation. We would huddle up together in Jaipur. Saroj would treat us to restaurants and movies. She would take us to religious, patriotic, and moralistic movies, such as Sampoorn Ramayan, Hakikat, Dosti, to name a few. To this day, me and my cousins remember the good childhood days we spent in Jaipur. Saroj was a religious person from early on, taking on the footsteps of her mother. Daily evening Aarti, Hanuman Chalisa on Tuesdays, and monthly Poonmasi, Satyanarayan Puja, and occasional Vrat or fasting were common. Saroj had also started observing fasting on every Mondays at the national behest of Prime Minister Lal Bahadur Shastri in the early 60s, when a war had broken out and there was a scarcity of grains, and they were in ration. She particularly liked songs with spiritual meaning and connotation. Some of them they're supposed to be playing right now in the background. I'm just looking at the AV operator. Whilst living in Bombay, we were introduced to and started following Dada Lakshmi's Gita Satsang on Sundays in Bandra and later on in Sion areas. Saroj and Anita's parents took to that teaching and later held weekly satsang at their own places. Although by name we were familiar with Brahma Kumari's organization from India, however, we all were introduced to that during a public talk by a visiting BK from London by the name Sister Jayanti in 2012. Later in 2014, we followed it up, took the introductory course from Sister Linda in Ashfield. In the following years, we watched hundreds of online videos of Sister Shivani, Sister Usha, Sister Denise. Some of you might be familiar with those. They're on YouTube. In the mornings, we watched those videos with a kappa. along with Mummy, and later started listening to or attending morning Murli class. BK knowledge provided us with a clearer aim and objective in pursuing an elevated spiritual life. It also resonated with Gandhiji's oft-quoted line, that is, be the change you want to see in others. We are fortunate and thankful that a few members of the BK family, over there at the back on my left, are here with us, and I would request Brother Charlie Hogg, who is the Australian National Director and Coordinator, to lead us into a short meditation after I finish, and send our peaceful vibrations and blessings to Saroj on her onward journey. And I would like to end by reciting a couple of stanzas from the poem entitled A Psalm of Life by American poet Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, whose works were very dear to my grandfather also, that is Saroj's father. That goes like this. Life is real, life is earnest, and the grave is not its goal. Dust thou art, to dust returnest, was not spoken of the soul. Not enjoyment and not sorrow is our destined end or way, but to act that each tomorrow finds us farther than today. So with that, I once again thank you all, family and friends, from the bottom of my heart or our hearts. And may I request Brother Charlie to come up and lead us into a meditation. Om Shanti. Brother Charlie.
That's fine. So thank you so much, Pratap Bhai and Anita Ben, and our condolences to both of you. I would just like to invite everyone for a, excuse me, a short meditation. The soul of Saroj Ben has flown. But our thoughts and feelings reach the soul wherever she may be. Let us all visualize her smiling, warm, friendly face. Just hold that image of her beautiful face in your mind, and then gently focus on the center of her forehead, the seat of the eternal soul. And from your heart, from the depth of your heart, express your feelings to her. Let your heart speak what Saroj Ben meant to you, what you learned from her. How did she influence my life? Let the heart express all its feelings. And with all our hearts, love and good wishes, let us express the feelings for the next step of her journey. Our good wishes, our pure feelings, as she continues her soul's journey. And as an act of true love, true respect, let us give her to God. Just visualize God as a radiant jewel of light, Paramatma, the eternal parent. Just visualize this being radiating light and love and peace and purity. And let's all give the soul of Saroj to God. Let us let her go to her eternal parent and her eternal beloved. Thank you, Saroj Ben, for enriching our lives. The fragrance of your beautiful soul remains, but you are with God, and all is okay. Om Shanti.
to Mataji. Ai, जिसकी इच्छा हो. Om Namami Shamishan Nirvana Rupam Vibham Vyapakam Brahma Veda Sarupam Nija Nirgunam Nirvikalapam Niriham Chidakashamakashavasam Bhajeham Nirakalamukalamoolam Turiham Gira Jnana Gotitamisham Girisham Karalam Mahakal Kalam Kirpalam Gunagara Sansara Param Natoham Tusharadri Sankasha Gauram Gambhiram Manobhuta Koti Prabhashi Shariram Sapuranna Molika Lolena Charur Ganga Lasat Bhala Bhalendra Kanthe Bhujanga Chalat Kundalam Bhushu Netram Vishalam Prasananda Nila Kantham Dayalam Mrigadisha Charma Naramundamalam Priye Shankaram Sarvanatham Bhajami Prachandam Prakashtam Praneham Paresham Akhandam Ajam Bhanu Koti Prakasham Treshula Nirmula Shulpaniyam Bhajeham Bhavani Pati Bhavagamyam Kalatinta Kalyan Kalpantakari Sada Sajanananda Data Purari Chidananda Sandoha Moha Pahari Prasiddha Prasiddha Prabhu Manmadhari Nayavadumanat Padaravindam Bhajeti Ham Loke Parevanarayan Na Tattva Shukham Santi Santapanasham Prasiddha Prabhu Sarva Bhuta Divasham Na Janami Yogam Jape Neva Puja Na Toham Sada Sarvada Shambhutobhyam Jara Janma Dukhet Tata Paimanam Prabhu Pahi Apanamami Shambho Rudrashta Prikta Prokta Viprain Hartoshe या पठन्त नरां भक्तां तेषां शम्भो प्रसीदतः। ॐ नमः शिवाय। ॐ त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिवां वन्दनारमृत्युर्मोक्षीयमामृता। आप लोग भी अंतिम दर्शन, आप समय हो गया, अंतिम दर्शन, पैर छू के प्रणाम, शांति पाठ बोलता हूँ। ॐ त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिवां वन्दनारमृत्युर्मोक्षीयमामृतात्। ॐ त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिवां वन्दनारमृत्युर्मोक्षीयमामृतात्। ॐ त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिवां वन्दनारमृत्युर्मोक्षीयमामृतात्। ॐ
Saroj Bala Pratap's mom, who completed her life journey a few days ago, rests here in peace in the casket. I met Anita first time in Bombay in the 1980s at Hill Road apartment. And she was introduced to me by my wife Vijay because they were very close friends from Delhi. Thereafter, our association with Katarias, Anita and Pratap continued to grow solidly and smoothly till today. We followed Pratap, Anita and Saroj to Australia from Bombay. I've known Saroj Bala very closely in India, in Melbourne and in Sydney, spanning over the last 40 years. When she came to Australia, I gave her a new name of Susan Auntie. It's very sad and difficult to believe that she's no more. She was a very hard-working single mom who spent her life in Jaipur, in the state of Rajasthan. She was not only a mom of Pratap, she was his father, his mother, of course, his brother, his sister. She was everything to Pratap, 4 in 1. Just 1 minute. She sent him to one of the best engineering colleges in India, Bala Institute of Science and Technology, for his education. And then she joined him in Bombay, where Pratap got a job in one of the best companies, Siemens. Thereafter, in 1990s, she migrated to Australia, settling in Melbourne with Pratap and Anita. Saroj Bala ji was very sharp in her general knowledge about the world affairs. She had very close relations with Anita's parents, Satyapal Sethi Saab and his wife. They enjoyed each other's company for a long time. Last page. She had good experience, as Pratap said, in making food, particularly parathas, which I don't forget till today. Sarojji went through her own physical ailments, but continued to get treatment and recovered. But all this time, Pratap and Anita looked after her. She completed her life journey honorably and hopefully without too much pain. I pay my respects on behalf of Vijay and my family and pray to Almighty God so that her soul can rest in eternal peace in heaven. Thank you.
शांति पाठ करना।
Can everyone please rise now for the final prayers for Mataji? Om Anadinidano Deva Shankha Chakra Gadadhara Checha Pundari Kancham Preta Moksha Prado Bhava Hiranyagarbha Krishna Krishna Kirpal Sargatiyam Sansar Mirnana Prasida Purushottama Narayana Surasheshta Lakshmi Kantam Varpradena Nena Tarpena Nyo Preta Moksha Prado Bhava Hiranyagarbha Purasya Vektam Sorupinamasya Pretasya Muchartha Suprita Bhavo Sarvadaha Om Dhau Shanti Antariksha Gom Shanti Prithvi Shanti Rapa Shanti Roshadhaya Shanti Vanaspataya Shanti Vishwaradeva Shanti Brahma Shanti Sarvagum Shanti Shanti Reva Shanti Ishamaha Shanti Redihi Vishwani Deva Saruturani Adibhadram Taniyasvoho Shri Shanti Rabhavatu. Please follow the family outside so we can prepare for the cremation ceremony. Thank you.
मन उजियारा जब जब जा रे